Well, we have breaking news in the Middle East. President Trump says both Israel and Iran have violated the ceasefire agreement hours after it started. The president saying, quote, "I am not happy with Israel." The Israeli defense minister says he has instructed the military to restart strikes against Iran after Israel accused Iran of completely violating the terms when Tehran launched more missiles overnight. Iran denying launching any attack.
And President Trump is now en route to the Netherlands with the Middle East ceasefire seemingly over. Here are your DC Daily headlines for June 24th. President Trump now traveling to the Netherlands for the NATO summit, of which neither Iran nor Israel are members. With escalating tensions in the Middle East, the 32 member nations may vote to bump up their defense spending. President Trump can fast-track deportations of immigrants to countries they are not from for now. The Supreme Court pausing a lower court ruling that blocked the president's deportations to third-party countries without giving them a chance to challenge their deportation first. The Trump administration says those deportations will restart sometime soon. Well, how do you feel about the economy? The Consumer Confidence Report comes out at 9 a.m. today, Central Time, and how Americans feel about the economy has a big impact on the economy. The report expected to show that overall, Americans are feeling a little less confident in the economy, spending a little less after a strong report in May.
We turn out the latest conflict between Israel and Iran, which is expected to be a big focus as President Trump heads to a NATO summit in the Netherlands today. Member nations could vote to increase their defense spending after years of insistence from the president. Meantime, Trump announced a proposed ceasefire plan on Truth Social and urged both countries not to break it.
So the president says that the ceasefire is now back on after some conflicting action. So here to give us the latest development is Eric Loeb. He's an associate professor of international relations at Florida International University. Thanks for being with us, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
So can you give us the latest right now? There was a ceasefire. We have heard that both sides violated it, but that it's supposedly back on. Where do things stand right now?
Well, yes, things were looking pretty tenuous for a while, where Israel was conducting in the early hours large-scale operations in Iran, and Iran was retaliating by launching several waves of missiles. But since then, and since some strongly worded statements by President Trump, both sides appeared to be dumbing down or reducing the scale and scope of their military operations and showing some restraint. And so there is guarded optimism now compared to several hours ago that we may have a ceasefire in place, and that may lead to a hopefully permanent cessation of hostilities between Israel and Iran.
So I know the president was just telling reporters at the White House here just moments ago that both countries may not have broken the ceasefire intentionally. I mean, how does that work, not breaking the ceasefire intentionally, though?
Well, this is usually the case with ceasefires, and we are talking about two countries with decades of hostility, particularly since 2023, where tensions have escalated even further. And so with the window that President Trump gave them, 6 to 12 hours, there may have been this, or likely was, an intention on both sides to inflict the maximum amount of damage without further escalating the conflict, but finding that fine line between getting their parting shots in without allowing the conflict to spiral further out of control.
Well, President Trump has said that the Israeli fighter jets will turn around. Can you tell us how that would work?
Well, apparently the ceasefire was put in place partially with President Trump making direct phone calls and speaking directly to Prime Minister Netanyahu. And this may have happened again, where President Trump made a direct call and requested that Prime Minister Netanyahu, his government and military, halt any further operations so that the ceasefire can hold, and that Israel can turn its fighter jets around and cease engaging in further hostilities against Iran. So, you know, that's the speculation of what most likely occurred.
Okay. Eric Loeb, Associate Professor of International Relations at Florida International University. Professor, thank you so much for your time as this continues to develop literally minute by minute. We appreciate you.